He's the engineer widely recognized as the inventor of Ethereum. Vitalik Buterin is also my guest on the latest edition of Bloomberg Studio 1.0. We spoke about the future of decentralized finance, the threat to legacy companies like Facebook and Twitter, and could we soon see the end of Ethereum mining? Take a listen as I ask for his thoughts on well-known crypto skeptics like Jamie Dimon and Warren Buffett and more.
A lot of them have definitely been just wrong already, right? They expected even back in 2013 to 15, at least some of them, to see blockchains and cryptocurrency fail and go down to zero in price and just not get any more interest completely. And even today, they've already been far more successful than any of them expected. So I can see how people in traditional finance, or at least some of them, can be inclined to kind of not see the value of blockchain-based finance immediately. There's a lot of people, even in traditional banks, that see the value that blockchains provide and have been trying to come up with things and work with them.
One of them is Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey recently announced Square is creating a new business focused on decentralized financial services based on Bitcoin, using Bitcoin. What have you learned about Jack Dorsey's plans? Does it seem like he's building something that sounds a lot like Ethereum?
I'm skeptical about these decentralized finance on top of Bitcoin type of projects. Basically because like the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? This is that on Ethereum, there's like native functionality that allows you to essentially directly put either ETH or Ethereum-based assets into these smart contracts, into these lockboxes, where there's then like arbitrary conditions of any kind that can then govern how those assets get released. Bitcoin does not have that functionality to the same extent. Like Jack is basically going to have to essentially create his own system that enforces those rules. And then on the Bitcoin layer, the Bitcoins will just have to be owned by probably a multi-sig wallet controlled by like either Jack or the participants in the system. It looks similar, but it'll end up being something with a much weaker trust model. Right, like I really think that like this is the whole reason why Ethereum started as an independent system in the first place, right? Like there's technical limits to your ability to kind of graft new functionality onto a system that's not powerful enough to support that new functionality.
Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg is also making some big moves behind the metaverse, and what do you make of them wading into this decentralized world? Could they replicate some of the same problems that we see in Facebook and Twitter today?
I think Mark is clearly trying to figure out what the next stage after the internet is and like actually get into it and create it. But before the rest of the world goes in some different direction, and Facebook is sort of left in the dust and becomes one of these kind of previous generation old world companies. So we've seen Facebook try to get into the crypto space with Libra, though. I think in the end, like Libra did end up being possibly the wrong approach, because like the problem that someone like Facebook has, right, is that a lot of people mistrust them. And so building their own platform, like I know they tried really hard to create something that's a consortium with all these different industry participants, but at the same, like even that was not enough, right? And there's just a huge amount of mistrust of them. But with the metaverse, I guess the thing that happened during the pandemic is that we've basically very quickly switched from a world where the physical world was people's kind of primary center of experience, and the internet was this new add-on, to a world where the internet really is the center of people's experiences. And so we basically are spending most of our time in a virtual world, and the question is just like, what level of quality does that virtual world have?
So Ethereum in 5 years and 10 years, where is it?
Hopefully running the metaverse, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
You've got a lot of people out there, a lot of people who are trying to understand cryptocurrency, who are placing their bets. What's your prediction for Bitcoin? Does it replace the dollar? Does it exist in 50 years, or is it something else? And then similarly, what's your prediction for Ethereum? Because a lot of investors are choosing to hold both or one or the other.
Yeah, I think replacing the dollar completely is unlikely, just because like there's things that the dollar provides, like price stability, for example, that Bitcoin is not going to provide. Like I think even in a theoretical world where the US dollar collapses, like even then, I think Bitcoin is not going to be able to provide the level of like stability that users and businesses expect to be able to set prices in. And in that kind of world, like we would need something else. Like it could be decentralized stable coins, it could be something else, but we'll see. But at the same time, I think cryptocurrency can still have a very powerful and important role alongside existing currencies.